King and Yates, they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life, and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates.
They bridging the gap. They bridging the gap. Listen, they bridging the gap. They bridging the gap.
BTG Nation, can you hear me? And we in here locked in. I got one ear up, one ear down. BTG Nation, what's up, man? We back in action. Let me tell you this. Let me be honest with you. We done did something we never done before. We done recorded 4 times in 5 days. 4 times in 5 days because the commitment is still there to give you guys quality, be consistent as possible. But we do have a workload and we have a need to recharge and get away. And so we ain't want to leave you guys empty-handed. So we back here. That's why I got the tea again.
Man,
we back here.
man,
Say we
selfish. You ain't bring me nothing.
Listen, I've been bringing water as much as I can. You ain't even drinking it most of the time.
I mean, yeah, you're bringing me water, but you got tea.
I'm upstairs in the crib.
But
you don't even drink tea, man.
I do drink tea.
Dog, look, cut it out.
I just don't drink as much as you do.
You don't drink tea without a little hit of whiskey.
That's assassination of my character.
It's wintertime, you know. It's a little blend. There ain't nothing wrong with it.
Man, well, give me some.
I respect it. I respect it. I got some vanilla chai up there with a little cinnamon in
it. I would take that right now.
Yeah.
Your stores around here are garbage.
Hey, listen, I don't use them. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what delivers here for me? Troyton from JVC.
Dang, that's nice.
I call them. I just be like, fuck it.
This cat said, what I may help you with? I said, I'm looking for some ginger shots or some turmeric shots. He said, oh, yeah. He told his guy, help me out. He brought me some ginger ale.
Hey, but listen, though. Grandma and them used to do that. They used to do that. You can't tell me Schweppes wasn't like medicine. Schweppes, chicken noodle soup, and some orange juice.
Man,
cure everything.
Yeah, if you had a upset stomach or something, but not when you're getting ready to come down with something. All our kids sick. That's we wearing down because we haven't had any sleep in a couple of days.
Oh man, let's go ahead and get into it too. Who Mountain Dubai, Who Mountain DXB. You guys know what's up, man. You know where to find us. You know where to do everything. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. This is gonna be a good one. First of all, shout out to Lee, because as I told you guys, we went 4 4 episodes in 5 days, right? And what ended up happening is I needed some mixes real quick. He got like 4 or 5 days in between one mix, right? And so my guy is all just like us. He's hustling all day, and so we almost ain't get one. So he sent me one about 30 minutes ago, right? And I haven't heard it yet. I only heard the first 30 seconds. And the first 30 seconds is fire. And so for the last mix of 2023, BTG Nation, episode 8, let's take it over with Lee Bueller in the mix. Snipes' whole life about to change over this break. Snipes, you listen to every episode from season 3, at 16 maybe, and just go ahead and get your life together, baby. You guys know what it is. Look, I got something for y'all new.
He'll eat the table. I'm quoting. He'll
eat the table. That's what you just did, DJ Lee Bueller. You just ate the table, my dog. Like, let's get it. Let's get it, man.
I'm quoting. He'll eat the table.
Man, shout out to Stephen A. Smith for giving us another legendary soundbite. That one right there is also why he's great at what he did, what he does. Because that's a moment. You got to sell that moment. Somebody else could get that information and deliver it too about Zion, but you can't. Everybody can't do what Stephen A. does, baby.
Right.
Stephen A. said that. They said that boy will eat the table, and then pause. Hold on, listen.
He'll eat the table. I'm quoting. He'll eat the table.
I'm quoting. Oh my goodness, man. And Zion did come out and put up 36 the next day, but they said my boy got a belly.
Yeah, man.
Like you said, that court and she's a tournament, it made you look crazy, but
everything doesn't need to be in 4K.
No, sir. My boy, just get your body together. It ain't no problem there. Just get your body together. We'll like it, man. I'll skip over this, my boy. Skip over this. And so let's get right into the pod. BTG Nation, give you a nice little update on Hoop Mountain. We just ended our camp this week. Camp King. Like, one, this is always cool because we also hear we're watching our kids grow. You know, we got the conversations with the young men we've had since they were 11. Now they're 14 or so, some 15, and they're talking about girlfriends and all these other different type things. But we're also seeing how, you know, this is a place of vacation. Yep. When it's time to go on break from school or whatever else, the families are dipping out. But we do have families now that if they don't leave until later in the week, they're sending their kids to us. Yep. But what we're seeing now is those kids don't want to leave.
Yep.
Let's talk about how we're seeing that and what that is a good insight of, you know. Yep. And so now we're at the end. We had a great camp this week. Great attendance every day. Yep. Every day. And so what do you think that's a good precursor to? Like, what is it a good sign of, you think, as we move into 2024?
Changing the level of our expectations. You know, before we had kids coming in just as an extracurricular activity. Yeah. You know, now we have those kids morphing into basketball players, guys that are, you know, and young ladies that are becoming hoopers, and want to be in the gym.
Yes.
That's what we want.
And we're getting a lot of new people.
For sure.
And, you know, whenever we have new families and things, especially when it's time to get them to join officially, you always talk with the parents. You know, that's your expertise. You got years and years of information with that and understanding. And so over this week, we had time, and I do talk to parents too as well, of course.
You have to. This is part of Hoop Mountain.
Yeah, and so it's our family. But what's interesting to me is I always try to pay attention to how and why. How did you hear about us, and then why us? Now, of course, I don't ask them that, but they end up telling you when you just talk. And the one thing that I keep hearing repeatedly is that, we've heard you guys are really disciplined, but everybody loves you guys. Right. And we're like, yeah. And even Snipes get here. Snipes get carried away with the push-ups because he just know they're gonna do them. But you don't understand. We don't do it as punishment, right? Because you know what's funny, Luka didn't like the fact, he was like, what is it about Americans and always making people do push-ups? And it's funny because Luka out of shape like a right. But what we always reminded him was like, there has to be a punishment. You have to be held accountable for your actions, whether you do things right or wrong. Because what's way worse, and all of our kids say it now, I said to our tenure team, I say, what's worse? You turning the ball over at a crucial time in the game, and you making a mistake by not listening, and us having a chance to lose the game because of that, or doing 15 push-ups when you mess up in class. They said losing is not even close. Right. And so they do that, the push-ups, they're thinking, man, I'm not doing this again, right? But they always have fun.
And you get something productive out of it.
Yeah.
You get stronger.
Yes, and that's the number one thing. Yeah. That's just some reverse psychology. We gonna make you do push-ups regardless because y'all ain't doing what you need to do at home, and we need basketball bodies here. But man, we are excited. Hoop Mountain, look in the camera. Hoop Mountain, we are excited about this new year. We said before coming into the season in August that we felt like this was going to be a good year. Yep. We were banking on it. We was like, it got to happen this year, and it's starting to feel like it collectively. It's starting to feel good, and so I'm excited. So, OG, you got any travel plans?
No, you know me. I'm just chilling.
Just chilling. So y'all know when we come back in 2024, he gonna have a story or three about some things, and so let's get into some action. NBA stuff, right? This is more about business NBA stuff. You know, if you guys watch the pod, you know Coach King and I's relationship started in Alexandria, Virginia. Yep. That's where he was my high school coach. years ago, just about 3 or 4 years ago, not too long ago, at
I
T.C.
wish-
Williams,
I wish I was that
right,
young again.
at T.C. Williams High School, which is now being renamed to Alexandria City Public School or something like that, a city high school.
It's far too long.
Yeah. And so, but news has just dropped, and let's go ahead and drop a round of applause. Alexandria, Potomac Yards area will be the new home of the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals. Monumental Sports and Entertainment has announced plans to move the Washington Wizards and Capitals to Alexandria, Virginia. The move is part of a massive $2 billion entertainment development district in Potomac Yards. Woo! It's a significant shift in the sports landscape, representing both a major win for Nova, which is Northern Virginia, and a challenge for downtown DC's revival efforts. Yeah. The new arena in Alexandria will be the centerpiece of this ambitious project, reshaping the area's social and economic fabric. Now, we know Alexandria very, very, very well.
Right.
And this is not the first time people have talked about moving a sports team there, because they talked about moving the Redskins Stadium there uptown, which didn't work because it's just the location, but they may revisit it now, who knows. But they kind of talk about it to why that is a great place for it to be, and kind of how DC really shot itself in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, so, I think they were asking for $600 million from DC, and Bowser, I think she just, tried to come back with $500 million. Considering where what's it called now? It used to be the Verizon Center, it used to be MCI Center.
Capital One.
Now it's the Capital One Center. Considering where it is, they kind of got you.
Gotcha.
You got to make sure you have an NBA team there and a hockey team there, because otherwise, what will you fill that void with? That's why everything else is there. Mm-hmm. And so this will be a L for DC.
And
this will be an L for DC.
In DC, in downtown DC specifically, over the last post-COVID, right?
Yeah, post-COVID.
It's been really, really bad.
Yes, yeah.
If you've noticed, pay attention to the news back home, they have to go as far as banning ski masks.
Yeah.
Because there are 12-year-olds running down on people with guns, and they're sending the 12-year-olds out because legally you can't charge them as adults for anything, so they're getting out. They're stealing cars. My boy went to the Rod Wave concert at Capital One. Rod Wave sold out the whole arena. When they left, DC police reported there were 220 cars broken into.
Man, that's crazy.
220, dog. And that's just regular. That's how it goes. So DC, man, oh, man.
You gotta step up.
Yeah.
You gotta step up. That's a major L, because they just revitalized all of the Naval Yard.
Mm-hmm.
Where the
baseball, near the baseball?
Yeah, where the what do they call the Nats play?
Yeah.
And then the soccer stadium's over there.
Yeah.
All that's a nice area now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But
still tough.
They still had a baseball game last year where they had gunfire.
Yeah.
And everybody had to, get low. But, to lose your I say probably your main team.
For sure.
And the hockey team just won a championship a couple of years ago. To a neighboring, we'll basically say suburb.
Yeah.
Is bad. But for Alexandria, that's a win, because that's waterfront.
Yeah, and we got a new, Potomac Yards got the metro there that's been put there. Potomac Yards has always been, that's the thing about DC and Maryland too. The DMV, how that goes. DC and Maryland used to always try to put us off to the side. Like, we were so adamant about being a part of it, what is this?
There's probably a 20-year argument about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, at first, to be considered in the DMV, it was only Arlington, because it's so close. You can walk across, Key Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alexandria crept in there. And then people slowly started to put Falls Church, Tyson's in there. And then, some people start trying to put Woodbridge.
Yeah,
that's a little too far.
Hell no,
you know what I'm saying? But Maryland and DC definitely they feel a certain kind of way about Arlington and Alexandria, but now you just messed up.
But listen, they always spend all their time there.
Yeah.
You talk about everything that's ever been good, right? The best things. It was always Tyson's. It was always, it used to be Landmark Mall, used to be a thing to go to because we used to have the movie theater back there and everything. And of course, everybody was going to Pentagon City. Yeah. Everybody. But as soon as they made that accessible to everybody, that thing went down. It used to be the fashion center. It used to have fashion shows and everything in there. But as soon as DC and Maryland was able to get there, it changed up.
Didn't Amazon buy all of Crystal City? Or no? Or what was
that? There is Virginia Tech has a campus in Potomac Yards. And Amazon and a few other people have something established there. So Virginia Tech has a satellite campus there. And that's been there for a few years. And it's part of the tech initiative, either from Google or from Amazon, but for one of them. So, and it's right there. If you look at one of the pictures, I'll send you one of the pickups of the mock-up. Virginia Tech's symbol is right there on the side of where the new sports arena will be. Yeah, so that area is just different. It is different.
And like you said,
so the property, first of all, the prices of that property there, because there's new townhouses there.
Yeah. I mean, it's already sick. The waterfront's there. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, and so congratulations, VA, another victory over there. You know what I'm saying? And so,
and let me say this real quick before we move on. All the people from Maryland complaining, people didn't necessarily like driving to Landover back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
And this is going to be way better than that.
Way better than that. Right. Traffic is crazy between D.C. and Arlington and Alexandria and just that Northern Virginia corridor right there. But they're going to work on that. You know it. And there's public transportation. You go to Landover, you had to drive.
And if you don't drive, right, if you get stuck in Landover, you go to FedEx or whatever, you walking into a neighborhood.
Yeah,
you in a neighborhood. Now, you can go chill at Crystal City after the game. You can go chill down the street here. You can catch the Ubers and go all over the place around there. Like, you could be chilling around there. You could be there all night, all day. And so that's going to be great. It's going to be great. And so shout out to home. Shout out to the people at home. You're going to enjoy that. You deserve that action, man. A little football update.
Okay.
They say at the end of the season, this will be Bill Belichick's last season in New England. Mm-hmm. What do you think, man? What do you think?
If he wants to continue coaching, I would probably give him another year or two, but I'd probably take away some of his duties. He's more than just a head coach. He does a lot more, and so I probably bring in some people to kind of give him a chance to kind of go back, take a couple steps back because he's probably doing a little too much right now. And when Tom left, Brady wasn't the only person that left. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole new roster. You know what I'm saying, with a rookie quarterback. So that's a tough void to fill, and everything you do is compared to who?
Yeah.
Tom Brady and those guys. It takes time.
What type of do you think that's the right move for the Patriots though?
To get rid of him?
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. What would they lead into if they get rid of him?
So if you fire him, who are you gonna get?
Yeah.
So either you're gonna get a retread, someone that was somewhere else that got fired, or are you going to give some young up-and-coming coach a 10-year deal? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, you guys, the Patriots have struggled the past few years, but man, it takes time to get back.
Yeah.
It takes time,
Especially when hey, as we go into our next segment, ask the Golden State Warriors. The struggles happen. And so by the time the episode drops, it'll be a few weeks after Draymond threw the punch and tried to, I don't know if he tried to karate kick, super fly that thing, but for us, it's not even about the reactions of how Draymond has been physically and outbursts of anger and all those other different things. It's about the collapse of the Golden State Warriors, the dynasty, so to speak, right? But we've always, especially in different ways, we've always hinted to this because people were giving entirely too much credit to just a few stars and not in totality to what Bob Myers was doing. Because Bob Myers is out of there too.
Yeah.
And also, because that's the front office stuff.
Yeah.
And then also what they were doing with their bench.
Yeah.
right? And then now you look at KD being there as an entirely different time as well, right? And so Draymond ejected again after coming back from a 5-game suspension. You've heard the rumors about the season that they've had with Clay. And Clay and Looney and Wiggins aren't even ending games right now.
Really?
Yeah, they're benching them. They're trying to find, and it has been working. It's been working, but they're trying to find ways to make things work. Clay's in the last year of his deal. Steve Kerr's in the last year of his deal as well. They're not winning games. They're not playing well. They don't look like a playoff team. And then, you hear people talking about free Steph Curry, free this and free that. King, I don't even know where we start. Let's start with Steve Kerr.
Right.
Let's start with Steve Kerr.
Okay, go ahead.
And so for me, that I have already said multiple times that I believe that Steve Kerr is not as great as a coach if he's being made out to be. And what I mean by that is he's on the list of all-time great coaches, period.
Right.
And I think in order to be there, you got to prove a little bit more with less.
Yeah.
And he's been able to walk into a great situation where a foundation and culture was already built, where players were already molded into superstars and on the rise of that. And there was already a winning organization. There was already stability within the front office. There was already a plan there made. And so he came in and really just had to manage.
Right. Plug and play.
Plug and play. He didn't really have to do and design anything new. He just go, and they had so much talent, he could do what he learned from Pop and do a free-flowing offense, right? But now, over the last 3 years, and then I include USA basketball, you've seen his deficiencies, his inability to adapt to the players that he has, his issues with rotation, player development issues on his roster with all the rookies that they've had. And so I put a good portion of this lack of consistency on him as well.
Well, if they're struggling, of course, he's got to take some blame because he's the leader. He's the head coach. As much praise that he's gotten, and a lot of it is justified, he's got to take the blame too. Yeah. So until they get it right, he's gonna have some heat.
And you're in the coaching space. Right. So as a coach, I assume when your down years are about to come.
Yeah.
Right. You can sense. And even more so in the NBA, because when the player is like, he probably ain't gonna be here next year. Don't you prepare for that?
Yeah.
Right? Like how do you prepare for that? If you're in your space?
You gotta adapt.
Yeah.
You just have to adapt. I know that there was people who are I'm not gonna say lifelong Warriors fans because you guys, y'all, you just jumped on the bandwagon, TJ. But complaining about him now, his rotation, right? He's not playing the young guys, whatever. Well, those young guys that you had just play a different style of game. Like Wiseman should still be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those are guys, you just got to adapt a little bit. And then the thing is, I think it's easier for guys that are great shooters to adapt than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because they can shoot anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can always get a shot and count on them to probably knock that down. Guys who are more one-on-one oriented or guys that are more, dependent on you bringing them the ball back to the basket, that's a little different. But guys who are catch and shoot or shoot off the dribble, you can easily get them to adapt. And I don't think Kerr has embraced the young guys that much. And those are the guys you need because they're supposed to lighten the load for Clay and Steph and Draymond.
So, why do you think it's an issue adapting to the youth though? So do you think it's some stubbornness, or do you think that he doesn't know how to implement them?
Listen, man, with most coaches, it's that.
Or is that coaching arrogance?
It's just every coach is arrogant, man. I've been winning this way. This is what works. This is what I know. This is what we're gonna do. But you gotta adapt. And I always say the GOAT of adaptation to me is Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nick Saban. Yeah.
Is there anybody like that in the basketball context though?
Jim Boeheim's been around a long time, but they ain't winning like they used to.
Hell no.
Everybody kind of, you think about it, all the greats kind of like.
Izzo? Because he's still in.
But he ain't winning like he used to. He's still there because he's respectable. You know what I'm saying? He ain't winning at the clip that he was. You know, he'll have teams now that start out the season top 5, top 10, and they barely in top 25. So that's what.
So we gotta say Coach K there.
Yeah, Coach K, but
he retired right on time.
And the guy from Villanova.
Oh yeah, Jay Wright.
Jay Wright. You know what I'm saying? But why? Think about this. If you look at those guys, you know damn well those guys had many more years left in them coaching. But with so much going on, they may not have wanted to deal with it anymore. You know, because it's a lot of change.
Yeah, because especially in college basketball, it's a lot.
But think about this. People think college basketball is crazy with all the transfers. You ain't never heard of college football cats transferring after 1 year because football is it's so physical. It's a different grind. That cat from the starting quarterback from Clemson transferred to Oregon State, put up numbers. The coach took the job at Michigan State. He's right now he's visiting Florida State, Ohio State, Mississippi State, and it was another school. So like he's on the move again. Yeah, you just don't hear about that in football.
That's crazy.
So yeah, if you're a coach that's been very successful coaching a certain way, and all of a sudden everything that you know has changed, you're looking at your family like, man, I'm always away from you guys, but I was enjoying what I do. Yeah. So I've made enough money, been away from it's time for me to walk away. And that's why I think Coach K and Jay Wright said, I'm out.
Yeah. And so Steve Kerr, you got some blame to be put in this, for sure. Yeah. Now, the next rung of that ladder, I'm going to talk about Clay. And I'm going to ask about Clay, I want us to talk about this, because we're watching some highlights right now, because I told you guys we watch highlights in between now. I just watched Steph Curry score against Cleveland in the finals. He went from the right wing to the left wing and had 3 screens. Yeah. 3 screens as he was going off the dribble all the way to the other side. 3 screens from Draymond, Maurice Spates, and David West to go all the way across that right. And so I'm looking at that. And of course, he's a primary ball handler along with Iggy and other people. And who else is getting those same number of screens? Clay. Yeah. Right? And so knocking them down. And we seen Clay knock it down last year too, because he had a pretty good season last year as well. But now you have Chris Paul. Right. And so now it's different. So now Steph Curry is off at the 2 guard and he's doing well at that too. But Clay is struggling. And so we always say, and we as hoopers know that if you can shoot, you can play anywhere. However long right now. So when you look at Clay's struggles, what are you seeing? What do you think? Is it a style of play now that Chris Paul is there, his ball's in his hands, or what?
I think the style of play with Chris Paul being there is a benefit to Clay because he's getting older. I don't care what anybody says, he still dealt with some major injuries. You're just never the same player. Yeah. And so I think Clay now, he's better just catch and shoot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Spotting up. All of that extra moving, a little, I know this guy's still young, but he's got a lot of miles on him. Yeah. So, all that stuff is probably needs to be a change in how he plays and how they use him. Yeah. So that goes back to, coach, are you going to communicate with him? Look, to make this work, this is what we have to do. You have a new role now. And your role is still to put him up, but just from different spots. And that's just where we are, and what was the other thing that made Clay so such an outstanding player? He was a 2-way player. Yeah. He ain't gonna be a 2-way player now. When you get older, and those legs get a lot of miles on them, something's got to give. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Either you're scoring or your defense. Yep. And his scoring is too important because he's one of the greatest shooters of all time.
And you're supposed to let the young bucks plug in for that. Yeah. Right? And so another thing I'll add to is people never really put the value that they need to put on screeners. Yeah. Now you have Kuminga, you have, I don't even know who else, but you got a lot of rookies, a lot of smaller bodies. You got Looney maybe as your biggest body and a bunch of people filling in the gap. They don't really appreciate or understand what type of skill set setting a good screen is. Because you had Iguodala, Spates, Bogut, Sasha Pachulia, who am I missing? David West, Draymond Green. Those are guys that also understand that if I set this number of screens and I'm playing with this level of physicality, Festus Ezeli, that eventually it's going to come back to me too, and I'm going to be able to slip and get a couple layups here and there. Just understanding the value of that, because that's not a stat sheet stuffer right there.
Right.
And so you're not coming off the same type of screens that you was coming off before too, on top of the fact that you don't have that same burst of speed on top of that. I think I listened to Grant Hill and I listened to Vince Carter make this, talk about this, having to go from being an all-star or high-level elite player to getting to the point to where, okay, I'm in a point in my career where I got to reevaluate.
Yeah.
And I got to make an adjustment. And if I do that, I can play another 10, right? Especially in this league. And so I would love to see how that goes. I think he need to drop some weight too. I think that'll help. Yeah, he drop some weight and get into that space like Braun and all those guys, become more toned, more cut, so your body can take it.
So we probably need to definitely look this up. All those guys that's getting older now, they need to go take a look at ISO Joe.
Yeah.
ISO Joe can play in the league right now.
Yeah. Body great.
His body's great. Crazy.
Yeah, and he's doing Pilates and all that there. So Clay, and Clay's in the last year of his contract. So do you see him staying as a Warrior?
Nah, I think he wants another max, right?
Well, they said at the beginning of the season it was a $48 million extension offer. They say right now that offer's off the table. I don't know.
48 that was for 2?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great. You know, because you look at your legacy. Do you want to end your legacy changing your role and helping Golden State maybe get back to the finals, right? Or do you want to end up playing in DC?
But I think that offer may be off the table now, though, because of the season. Like, and I don't know if the sources are there yet. That's crazy. But they also have Verajao. I forgot they have Verajao, another screener, another big body to get things done.
Good role player. You gotta have professional role players.
Yeah. And so it's gonna be interesting for Clay. I think he might be in his last year. But we got to get to the nucleus, right?
Yep.
The next spot, Steph Curry.
Yep.
Chef Curry and Draymond. We'll talk about this together because it's collective. And so Draymond has his outbursts. Draymond is crazy. Draymond is fiery. Draymond has been fiery from the time he was suspended during the finals. Like his various suspensions before then, the recent headlock, the two-piece to your boy. Like, Draymond, I don't know. You take it for a big dog.
Okay, yeah. Is he over the top sometimes? Most definitely. But his over-the-top issues definitely don't outweigh the good he brings to the organization.
Or has brought to the organization. Right?
Well, I still say, to this day, I think he still does, because we all know when it gets down to the playoffs, what do you have to have when everything slows down? You gotta be tough. And he's the heart and soul of that team. I'm sorry. He's not the most talented, but he's high IQ, high energy, all right? Professional role player.
Professional.
Super tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody on an opposing team is going to get out of character on Steph and Clay. Draymond's going to handle that.
Draymond's been the leader of that organization from the get-go, right? I mean, from who made that decision? Mark Jackson.
Yep.
Mark Jackson told Steph, told Clay what they were going to be, Splash Brothers, and told Draymond that you were going to be the one to lead them to that, right? Now, heavy is the head that wears the crown. That is a lot of responsibility. And to his credit, 4 rings. He got 2 defensive players of the year. He got 1. What do he got? All NBA defense, all-star appearances, all of that, right? And so he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a valuable asset, man.
A valuable asset. He's been there. But there has been one-time defensive player of the year, but punching Jordan Poole. Cursing out KD on the court in the middle of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Pushing those teammates away.
Yeah.
They say he hasn't had a great relationship with some of the young guys, you know.
So let's talk about that, right? Some of the outbursts.
Yeah.
Every star player has had those. But his are a little more how can I highlight it because
Aggressive.
Clay and Steph are so calm, cool. You know what I'm saying? So he stands out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just bottom line.
And he throwing blows in 2023, 22. You know, that ain't happening like it was when Ron Artest was playing.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but that's how he grew up.
Yeah. I mean, Rasheed said he grew up in their locker room.
You know, I mean, you think about it. You think about a player like Draymond Green. I almost think back to Patrick Beverly. How did they get to the league?
Yeah.
Patrick Beverly was one of the top scorers in high school in the country. What did he say? I was trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
And they said, look, you got to strap up.
Yeah.
He changed his game.
Yeah.
He's $30 million in now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it worked out. So Draymond, to get to Michigan State, to get to the pros, to get the massive contracts that Draymond's had as a second-round pick, he's had to be a dog to get there. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, if it's going to mean me getting a chance to play for a ring, I'm taking it.
Yeah. The issue now is that because of his behavior and because of his reputation, he's going to be reprimanded. Like, he's going to have consequences.
Yeah.
He's always going to have consequences, but their team is not good. The team has been bad all season. They've been struggling all season. And they're when he's I think ejected from games, they're 2-7. They're below 500 when he's not playing. And, you know, they need him on the court. And it's a time where they having issues anyway getting continuity. And so as an organization that now you've been a culture where you want to win, is this the best place for him to finish out? You know what I'm saying? And when it comes down to it, King, who should we be focusing more of our attention on about handling?
It's supposed to be Steph. Steph is, we say that we think Draymond is the heart and soul of the team, but Steph is undoubtedly the star. And the star usually is the leader. And
not just a star, though, because what you guys have told us is he could be arguably top 5 ever. This is what you people are saying within these debates and everything else, and how he's generational and all those other good things. You put him in the conversations with Kareem, Magic, MJ, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, Tim Duncan, KD, whatever else. You put him on all those conversations. But what you never, ever do is hold him accountable the same way you hold all those other guys accountable with the way that he runs and manages teams.
Hey, because, Stephen A. Smith talked about how if it was LeBron,
oh man,
every media outlet would be talking about how he's not being a leader right now, right? When J.R. Smith didn't take that shot, everybody jumped. Even though we know J.R. Smith, he's a pro.
Yeah.
He wasn't a rookie. He made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But people jumped on LeBron saying, why you call timeout?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's...
And like I said, I'm a Kobe guy. So I grow up hearing people talk about how Kobe a terrible leader. How nobody wants to play for Kobe, blah, 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 because he was so hard on his teammates. He was an asshole because he demanded this and that out of them, right? Got 5 rings. The Lakers organization, they talk about how Lamar Odom, Ariza, everybody talks about how I wouldn't have had my career if it wasn't for him. Yeah. Lamar Odom said he saved his life multiple times because Ron Artest went to go play with Kobe. You talk about the most volatile tempers, Matt Barnes. You know what I'm saying? All those guys there, but even on the court with them, Kobe has that stuff under wraps, right? Bron, what you say, Coach G? Bron gonna wrap his arm around you.
Yeah. Bron
gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
But the time you start to look like you about to take away from the team's success.
Yeah. See ya.
Coach or player.
Yeah.
Coach or player.
Yeah.
So when does Steph have to take onus for what's going on with his team, as they say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, that's where I always come when I talk about him as a great compared to everybody else. It's not about only basketball, because you never talk about only basketball with anybody else, right? And even when you do talk about basketball, it's under a fine microscope, right? Yeah. But you talking about carrying an organization, really carrying it by yourself.
Yeah, because just like kind of like in comparison, right? He scores a lot.
Yes.
Right? And people talk about him being one, top 5 or whatever, right? Top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But think about this, and this is a guy we don't like to talk about that much, but I'm just gonna say his name real quick. Karl Malone. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest scoring 4s ever, right? One of the greatest scoring, and we don't talk about him because it wasn't sexy or whatever. But and his partner is the all-time leading assist guy, right?
Right.
But the one thing that always was constant in Utah, those two were the leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One handled shit on the perimeter, one handled stuff in the paint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was one. You knew if you went to Utah, you was playing their way.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan was another one. He was quiet. But you knew even Manu, Manu's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Tony Parker too.
It's crazy. But coming in there, if Tim Duncan is listening to Pop, that's how you're gonna play.
And if Tim started to get a problem with you, you out of there.
Yeah, you out of there.
You out of there. So same thing. And so how long can you just be the guy that they say you are and you just turn a blind eye, right? Or you don't at least say, look, he got to get right or he got to go. Yeah. But you can't do that because a lot of your success is due to the fact that you had number 23 right next to you doing the same thing he's been doing, being that bully, being the loudmouth there, protecting your back so you can roam freely on the schoolyard. There's nobody going to take your lunch because Draymond was right there. And so
he's got to step up. He's got to step up vocally now because he's scoring his ass off.
Yeah.
But they need everybody.
Yeah.
So either he's going to step up, get him up out of it, or get him under control.
And this is what we always talked about too, is like we don't ever doubt him as a scorer. But you guys told us he was a point guard. So if he was as good as a point guard as you say, then guys like Kuminga and Wiseman and whoever else would have had even more opportunities to score and grow and get better and comfortable on the court because you play with top 5 point guard of all time, they say. Yeah. Right? And so, but it's interesting. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about Draymond over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. We won't be doing none of that bashing here. Draymond may have anger issues. He may, but...
Yeah, I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying anything because if that was the issue, you should have got rid of him years ago.
Years ago, but you didn't because you wanted to win, right? And also, too, we talked about Tyler Perry last episode, and we talked about what it took for him to get to where he was at and what he had to get out of. I don't know much about Saginaw.
I think it's from Flint. But Flint is...
Yeah.
Rough,
and so, no, even Saginaw, because he say that all the time, because Darvin Ham is like his OG, right? And either way, Kuzma from Flint, even from Saginaw. So to get to where you are as an undersized big in this world where you don't shoot great, like, it's tough, man.
Man...
This boy said Tyler Perry.
We're talking about Draymond Green, man. He just referenced Tyler Perry.
My man Snipes, boy. Look, carry on. Anyway, the Warriors is over. It's cool. Saginaw. Okay. Yeah, the Warriors is over. It's cool. The legacy was great. You guys changed the game of basketball. The documentary and the 30 for 30 on you guys is going to be amazing.
Yep.
But it's over. It's over. It's time for the new batch of young talent. It's time for you guys to maybe have a change of scenery, but it's all good, It's all good. You guys made it worthwhile.
It ain't over, man.
It's over. It's a wrap.
It ain't over. Yeah, they just gotta make some adjustments.
Yeah.
It ain't over.
But it's a wrap because everybody else has already caught up and got past, and they're younger and hungrier. They done. It's all good though. But let's stick on to the basketball for a minute. Right. And so, as I mentioned it before, that a lot of my peers are in basketball as coaches. It was trainers.
Yep.
Some of them are agents I'm seeing around. And so one of my peers, somebody I competed against since we were like 12 on AAU, known him for a while, another VA guy. He played for Coach Keith Honore at Potomac too.
Shout out, Coach.
4-year starter at Holy Cross, in the record books for all types of things. I actually was with him at the Delaware team camp.
Okay.
So he was there too.
Okay.
And so Justin Burrell, he's now the assistant coach at Mount St. Mary's in Maryland. I posted a video from episode 4, maybe. What episode is out right now as we speak? I don't know. But one of our older episodes, I posted a video in regards to kids playing basketball for Instagram. And he reposted it, and he was like, yo, Slim, this is a real problem. And so he talked about, he was like, listen, I go to games, because they got to recruit. He said, I go to games, and there's a whole row at high school games of cameramen. There's cameramen, photo guys getting ready for people to take highlights and everything else. And he's like, that same excitement we used to feel when we saw a coach walk in with their college polo on and the logo of their school, like kids don't even get excited for that anymore. Yep. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around that, to where it's like, they really are prioritizing getting footage and content over the fact that a college is coming to see them to possibly recruit them.
Yep.
Like, King, what? Could you imagine? Like,
but everything's digital now. Think about it. Coaches don't get out as much as they used to because of the NCAA rules. And it's easier for a coach to sit down in his office and he could take a look at 100 guys in a matter of a few hours. And so if you're not visible and getting a chance to watch the kids, maybe talk to them a little bit, the kids don't really understand the significance of, and this is no offense, of the not so popular schools walking in. Because don't get it twisted now. If that's Duke, Carolina sitting there, those kids know and get excited. But we're just talking about back in the day, any college coach that came in there, you felt a sense of like, pride, like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying?
Because that was the goal.
Yes.
That was the goal, right? And I think that's another reason, too, why coaches are complaining about it, because y'all, you catfished me. You sent me that reel, and I thought I was getting the next Michael Beasley from over here, and my boy is going to Johnson and Wales. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when he brought that up, I started immediately thinking about when you had college coaches come to our open gym, how immediately that changed the entire, like, even the girls and guys in school was like, oh, you see some khakis? You see some khakis or some slacks and a polo, you know that they there to see somebody, right? Yep. And for us, it was always the same people, right? It was Glenn Andrews, Mike Davis, Marcus Lemons, Tracy Stanton, all those guys, and then it was Man's turn. It was Wimbush. It was Trav. It was EJ.
Every year was a different group.
Then it was my turn, and then it was Tierra Pratt had the whole country walking in and out of there, right?
Everybody.
The volleyball girls had stuff. Football team had stuff, but it was like, oh shit, you really been working, and that's been the thing. AAU. I remember knowing that there was a big difference when our games were becoming full of college coaches, all levels. But every game that we played in those big tournaments, people were staying to watch those games, even morning games at times. Yep. And that shit felt good.
Yep.
Like,
it gave you felt like you were playing with a sense of purpose now because it means something. Mm-hmm. When no one's there, you're like, that's a little disheartening. But when people are sitting there, because I used to always talk to coaches and say, like, look how hard they going in the open runs now because we got 3 people sitting in chairs over there.
Oh man, man, listen, that just blows my mind to like, what else? Like what? Like, that's so crazy.
But again, like I said, the goals have changed because now you can go directly to a pro league if you're good enough. You can go to a big time college and get an NIL deal. So you get paid. So goals are different, man.
But that's the funny thing, though, because you talked about this before. All those new age changes and stuff, it only affects those small few still.
Oh yeah, it's the same.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what the thing is.
Yeah.
Like we all always look towards the creme de la creme and think that because that's what they get and that's what the rest of us gonna get.
Yeah.
Hell no.
No.
That's generational, folks. Like if you get a good Division 3 school that's in a competitive conference, a good D2, a good NAIA, a good D1, and you're able to play 4 years, right? You have won, my boy.
Yeah. I don't think
you have won.
I don't think people outside of people who have played and gone through that experience understand that it's almost less than 1% of people in the world that get a chance to play at the college level in the U.S.
Period.
That's on any level.
Period.
Think about that. In the world, it's almost less than 1%. You know, at one point, I think it was like 1.2, something like that. And I remember every year I would print out those stats each year and give them to the incoming players on the team and their parents. And I think people would just gloss over that shit and think, "Oh, my kid ain't in that category." Yes, he is.
And the crazy thing is that you can fall through the cracks and everything. And then sometimes, like you say, I look back at it and I always felt like I left more on the table, right? And I guess if you're a competitor, you probably always feel that way anyway, right?
Yeah,
you always feel like you can do some more, right? And so from being touted to play D1 and all those other things to go D3, but when I got to my position and I was able to play, the thing was that I was able to play all 4 years.
Yep.
I was able to play all 4 years. And as you learn later, too, especially with men's basketball, the competitive nature and the competition level, when you get to certain parts and certain conferences, there's not a big drop-off between the low D1s, the high D3s, and the D2. Like, between there and there, it's just about when you were seen, maybe when you hit your growth spurt and everything else. Like, the basketball is the basketball.
Yeah. It's always just a fine line between why you're chosen and why you're not chosen. That's it.
Yeah.
I know you guys hear me say it all the time. I just said, try to give yourself as many opportunities to go to the next level.
Man.
Don't leave any room for error. We tell our kids today, when parents say that we heard that you're disciplined, we try to get our kids to learn listening skills, following directions, because that's half the battle.
Half the battle for life.
Shit.
For life.
For life.
For life. And so when he told me that, I was like, damn, Jay. And so I'm going to definitely get Justin on the lines at some point, probably after the new year, because I know he got some other insight that we know our young guys need. And we say a lot to our guys, but for them to hear from a college coach, and we've had a high major coach on this podcast.
Yep.
Right. We've had a Georgetown, right? Like, and then we've had a Coppin guys.
The whole
Coppin, and all those guys are coaches and this stuff now.
Coach Brown is coaching royalty at the D1 level, small,
legend.
The low D1, HBCU legend on the men's and women's side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so you get another one to where I think JB will probably be a head coach coming in soon the next 3 or 4 years. And we want the guys here to know, and the young ladies as well too, what it really is going to take for this next era to get right and get prepared. Because what we remind kids is that you just don't want to go to college. You want to go and have the full experience.
Yeah.
And if you're going as an athlete, you're not going to enjoy it if you don't feel like you're giving your all and getting a chance to play. Like that's just different. And so, man, appreciate any recognition you get.
Yep.
Anything. But yeah, as we head into our end of the pod right now, since it's the last pod of the new year, we got 2 little things to reflect on, right? Snipes hit us with something, and the young buck is around and he needs some guidance. You can see it in his eyes right now. Look at him, he's a little sad puppy right now. We're gonna work on it though. But he said that he came across something that he felt like was pretty profound.
You better be.
Yeah, because he said a few things, and I said no to all of them. And then I said, this one might can be something. So he said, he saw something that says we have a choice. We don't have to accept everything. And he said he thought about it because I was telling him about a story about some business and job offers I got here that sounded pretty good, but I was like, nah. And then it don't make sense. And he was like, well, like, just say no to things like that. And when he saw this, he was like, how do you guys get to that point to where you just don't have to accept everything? And so, OG, you got more time and wisdom than I do with that, and a few more experiences you can draw back from. But what is it about knowing when to choose and when to say no, when to say yes and when to say no to opportunities?
It's all about having yourself in a space where you can survive anywhere. If you know that you have something that can be of value for somebody, somewhere, anytime, you don't have to accept everything. There were moments in my life where I had to accept anything, but those were years ago. I've worked my butt off to put myself in a space where, I can pick and choose kind of what I want, And, the thing is, you have to be be comfortable at a certain point in your life where you kind of know what your ceiling is. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you want to shoot for the stars, right? But you got to understand, if I don't reach the stars, where am I comfortable? Where am I? Am I still, if the stars are here and I'm here, I'm still blessed because I came from here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I am. I could be doing some other stuff now, probably for a lot more money, but this is what I want to do. This is where I want to live. This is, what I'm saying? And so within this, I feel that we can build some big things, and I can still, how can I say, like, feed that fire of competitiveness I have in this career industry, to move up and do other things. But I'm comfortable where I am, in terms of what I get up and do every day. You know what I'm saying? I know the money's gonna come because I know if push comes to shove, I can go anywhere and make some money. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a good work ethic and I have experience and things like that. And I have a lot of contacts. But I'm comfortable where I am. And I think that's the thing that allows you to say, I don't have to accept what you're offering because it's not going to work in the end anyway. And I'll just give you an example. I started playing again after my brother passed away. Because I kind of went in a little rut and got fat like I am now. And, a little depressed. But I tried to get back into it. A couple of my guys were calling me, former agents, a couple general managers saying, hey, come play on this team, get back in shape, maybe get a couple more years, right? I went somewhere that was a beautiful place to play, beautiful, and decent money to get me started, to get going. Within 3 or 4 days, I told the other American, I ain't gonna make it. He's like, why? He's like, I'm just not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I left in 6 weeks. I just told the team, I got to go home. You know what I'm saying? No point in me being there if I wasn't going to give 110%. And so that's, I got to the point where I said, you know what? It's time for me to do something else now. And that's when I got into, coaching. I was blessed to get a chance to interview for assistant job at TC, And here's the thing. I had some college opportunities to go in as low-level assistants, but didn't really want to do that just yet. And I was really intrigued by Coach Jones, who's like my family member, like a father to me, mentor. And then I met Coach Thomas and knew that he's a young, bright basketball mind. I need to be with this guy for a while. And so I think I made the right decision.
Yeah. I mean, even in being here right now, like, I don't think people understand, like, you really, really don't have to be here doing this, especially in this basketball industry. Yeah. Like, basketball-wise, you could be there with, like, you're not far removed from coaching against LaMelo and them. Like sideline, like LaMelo. And
them, by the way, he didn't play that game. We did play Spire. They beat us by 75.
Yeah.
But I didn't schedule that game. Jimmy Parker, you set us up.
Yeah.
Had me in the mountains and all that snow. We got rocked by 70.
Yeah. But you, like I said, you aren't removed from, like, the fact that you could be there. NBA, high level, whatever. You could be in all of those mixes. But the choice, personal, right? It's about what you want. I'll add to that is having faith, because when you were a little bit younger and you feel like sometimes you feel like you don't have enough time to get what you think it is that you want, right? Or what you need at this moment, right? Like you look up and you might look at the people that are your age and you feel like damn, the choice I made to do this where I'm sacrificing some money up front, it ain't looking as good because some of the people that I know, they going on way more vacations than I am right now. It looks like they probably got a little bit more dough saved up than I do right now because I made a choice to do something where I'm going to have more autonomy, more responsibility right now. Not that the money don't equal out to that there, but it's more fulfilling. But you got to really, really be able to have faith in what you're doing, the people you're doing it with, and then the fact that you have enough, as Coach says, to if anything falls down, anything breaks, you can move and pivot into something else, right? And so that's because you really do always have a choice. Like as a youngin', you're going to always feel like you're back against the wall. Like right now, you're going to feel like you're back against the wall, and it's going to feel like you can't do anything but this one choice. But in your gut, you feeling like, dog, it's the wrong thing. It's the wrong thing. And that's where you just got to jump out there.
But let me say this to end that.
Yeah.
You got people around you that are good people, not by what they say, by what they do, right? You got to lean on them. You know what I'm saying? You got to lean on them and make sure that you understand the things that they're telling you, right? And you don't disrespect the time that they're giving you. You know, I say that because we have extended our hand to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just about working with Hoop Mountain and doing, it's about life. You know what I'm saying? Because if you are with us even for a short period of time, you go somewhere else, you're an extension of us. You know what I mean? And you're supposed to pay it forward to someone else. But if you don't appreciate the time that someone is taking out of their day to give you, then you're definitely not going to do it for someone else. And then now we're breaking the cycle. And that's the problem now. You know what I'm saying? You know, I came through where I had 2 guys that kind of like took me under their wing, but I wasn't with them all the time. So I made a lot of dumb mistakes. You know, so I try to make sure like every youngin' under me at least understands my successes, but more importantly, all my failures. That's why I'm hard as hell on everybody, because I want you to be successful. And you got to understand that not everybody's going to give you their time. You know, a lot of people talk a good game, but then their actions say otherwise. So just remember that.
And from being in your position, and anybody that's young, if you have good leaders and good people around you, like Coach King is hinting towards, the way you repay them, and they'll remind you this, has nothing to do with monetary stuff. Nothing. If you do what you're supposed to do, me graduating college and then getting a master's degree, I knew for sure that Coach King, Coach Thomas, my Uncle Ro, my mom, my Aunt Lisa, and everybody, they were beyond fulfilled. Because anything I could have given them wouldn't have meant nothing if I hadn't completed that. Because the time that they sacrificed, the only way that they were going to know I was really taking in those messages is if I was able to continue to push through those trials and tribulations to finish that thing. So when somebody that is pouring into you, the way that you show their appreciation is retain, and apply. And that's for everybody, right? And sometimes those lessons don't hit within that time period. They hit a little bit later. But if you even hit them later and be like, yo, OG, like, you taught me this, and it came back and it hit, those are the moments to where guys like us, guys like Coach, and those OGs that really help you, that's the ones that they live for. Maybe you take them out for lunch 5-10 years later, and you let them know it's like, big dog, like I got here and there and then that. That's what they love. I know Coach told me that about John Chaney, and he transferred out of Temple, but he can still go to lunch and talk to him about those things, and they can see those things. And so any young guy that got a good mentor out there, a young lady, you know they'll be good, and you know you want to pay them back. It's not about monetary stuff. Just take the lessons that they're giving you and keep pushing. and just keep pushing. And so, OG, we're going to end it off. What's your goals for the new year, 2024? What's some things you got going in? Because it's going to be almost New Year's time when we drop this. What you got going on?
Keep improving.
Keep improving.
Keep improving.
Keep improving.
Keep improving.
Yeah. And so I'm going to add, I got a couple, I want to do something new. I got something that I'm working on. And I not only want to do something new, I want to follow through. So something I've been working on, but I want to follow through with everything I said that I was going to do a few years ago. This is like year 4 of things. And so I want to follow through and I want to execute. So I think this year for me going into 24 is a year of execution and discipline. That's going to be most my things there. And so BTG Nation, this is the post-game wrap-up. OG, I'll start us off on this one. It's the last post-game wrap-up of the year. And first of all, thank you guys. Thank you guys for holding it down. Thank you guys for being with us. You know, we're on that journey to 100 episodes. And we just two guys sitting here talking our trash in the corner. And so my post-game wrap-up for today, it comes from a book again, but it's just a reminder, no matter where you are from, your best lies within you. Be bold, be authentic, and don't be afraid to stand alone.
I like that.
Let's
I was going to say, clap that up, but I can't reach it.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. Mine is real simple, man. The more you give people, the more they expect, the less they want to work. And so we talk about that with our kids all the time. You know, when sometimes parents ask the question like, well, he or she was unhappy because they didn't make the team or they didn't win such and such. And we make it clear to everybody, you're not supposed to win every time. That's not life. That's not life. And so we want to build an environment for your kids to have to work hard. And when they finally push through and earn something, they respect it even more. That's what we want. We want people to grow as players and people on and off the court.
You got to repeat that opener again. The
more you give people, the more they want, the less they want to work.
Man, you know, and so BTG Nation, that's it for episode 8. Thank you guys. Who Mountain DXB, Who Mountain AE, BTG Nation. You know, you can find us on all DSPs and on YouTube. Subscribe, review, comment. And as always, as you head into the new year, keep it real, keep it simple, keep going, and stay safe.
After racks, but really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats. 2 basketball lovers through happenstance built a bond that led to greatness that advanced from player and coach to brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.